Welcome to CityWise. I'm your host, Tiana Stevens. CityWise is produced by the City of Rochester to shine a spotlight on city living at its best. Earlier this year, Mayor Warren unveiled a new education plan based on recommendations from the Early Learning Council, which she convened when she took office. The 3 to 3 initiative focuses on children ages 3 through 3rd grade. And joining us today to tell us more is City Director of Special Projects, Alan Williams, and Carolyn Lee Davis, Policy Analyst at the Children's Agenda, Early Learning Council member, and a Rock the Future Coalition member. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alan, we'll just step back a little, and if you could explain first, what is the Early Learning Council?
Well, the Early Learning Council was convened by the mayor, as you said, in March of this year. And what it was, she wanted the council to basically take a look at or describe the overall early learning atmosphere or environment in Rochester, and to come up with a set of recommendations in terms of how the early learning program in Rochester could be improved. So that was their overall charge. There were 18 members made up of academicians, members with corporate community, nonprofit leaders or foundation members, parents, and Carolyn also sat on the council.
Carolyn, you're a longtime advocate for early childhood education, and like I said, you were on the Early Learning Council and Rock the Future. What is the Children's Agenda? What is the work that you do there, and what is Rock the Future?
Sure, and it was great to be a part of the Early Learning Council and a natural fit with what the Children's Agenda does. The Children's Agenda is an organization that advocates around children's needs, but really is focused on what's needed most and what works the best. So looking at data on children and seeing where our challenges are, and then looking at what works, and really working with families and working with community leaders to make change on behalf of children.
Okay. And what is Rock the Future exactly?
So Rock the Future is an initiative. It's part of the Strive initiative, which is actually a nationwide effort at collective impact. And the idea is that folks come together from all different entities and that you come together on behalf of improving outcomes for children. Here in Rochester, Rock the Future started a couple of years ago, and with the city school district saying they'd really like the group to focus on 3rd grade reading scores. So really helping children get ready and do well at 3rd grade reading, because we know that if you're not reading well by the end of 3rd grade, it often puts you at a much higher risk for not completing high school and not being as successful as an adult. And so Rock the Future is working hard and bringing folks together to align resources, to coordinate, to connect, and to really be persistent in working at making change for children.
Now, Alan, what's the significance of starting at 3 years old?
At 3 years old, one of the things we found is that Rochester has one of the best universal pre-K programs in the country, and it starts at 4. However, one of the things that we've seen is that even though we have one of the best pre-K programs in the country, by 3rd grade, a significant number of our students cannot read or cannot read at grade level. So we tried to figure out, where does the break occur? And more often than not, it occurs at that period prior to entering into pre-K. What the research has shown is that a significant number of our students, something on the range of 60%, come to pre-K pretty much unprepared for learning. So that's why we really want to start at age 3 to have parents understand the importance of early childhood learning, and to get them to enroll their child into a high quality program at age 3.
Mm-hmm. And now when the mayor set out to created the Early Learning Council, she kind of made it clear, I don't want to just have a report that's going to sit on a shelf, so there's an action plan, right, that goes along with this?
Yes, it is. And one of the things that really the action plan, the first piece that came out was the 3 to 3 initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So starting at age 3, going to 3rd grade. And what the intent is to make sure that for every 3-year-old in the city of Rochester, that they have the opportunity to develop the cognitive and social skills that will help them be successful by the time they leave 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. So that's where the 3 to 3 comes in. And a lot of that really depends on, as Carolyn said, making sure that by the end of 3rd grade, all of our students are able to read at or above grade level.
Okay. And you mentioned bridging the gap between that 3 years old to pre-K age. And what about summer learning loss? What exactly is summer learning loss?
So summer learning loss, one area we've looked at summer learning loss in the community is actually for between that pre-K year and that kindergarten year. So, for example, as Alan was saying, we're really lucky to have a very high quality pre-K system here. Over 80% of our 4-year-olds attend universal pre-kindergarten in high quality settings, and we know that they have a lot of growth and development during that year. But what we've also found recently in looking at the research is that between the June, when you're ending pre-K, and September when you're starting kindergarten, there's between a 20 and 30% learning loss. So that's about a third of that important growth that happened during your pre-K year is gone at the start of September. So it's the loss that can happen over the summer if children aren't engaged in exciting, interesting activities over the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, and a big part of that has to do with the fact that over the years, the state has cut back in terms of at least the subsidies for 3-year-olds, and as a result, the county has cut back. So there is a substantial number of our students or children at age 3, or the families who cannot afford to pay, if you would, the full cost of a high quality learning environment at age 3. Mm-hmm. So that's where one of the things we're trying to counteract, as Carolyn said, is that period from the time the 3-year-old goes into pre-K, that summer period, and from pre-K to kindergarten, because again that's where a lot of we found the research shows that a lot of the loss occurs.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be working with a lot of community partners for each of the 4 initiatives set out by the mayor. What are some of the other community partners along with Rock the Future?
Along with Rock the Future, there is ECDI, the Early Childhood Development Initiative. There's the Children's Agenda, the Children's Institute, the City of Rochester, the Monroe County Executive's Office, the City School District, as well as, I'm trying to think some of the others. I can't think of any other sort of partners that are involved in early childhood learning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as far as things that parents need to be aware of, say if you're a new parent and you're not really sure what the benchmarks of learning should be at these ages, Carolyn, can you let us know what parents need to know?
Yeah, that first year of life is so critical, and many children are only saying a couple of words by the time they hit their first birthday. But even so, they're doing so much work internally to learn and to get ready to be saying lots more words. And so what we know is those first couple of years are very critical, and what parents can do at home to foster those growth is a lot of things that may seem almost silly when you've got a baby who isn't talking yet, but singing to your child, talking to your child, playing on the floor, reading to them, and reading even while your child is before they're born, while they're still in utero, is really important and really helps children get that start on life. We know that 75% of brain development happens by the time a child is 4, but that brain development doesn't just happen on its own. So it really is fostered by the love and care that a child receives by those who are around them.
Right, and some of those tips have been put into a resource for parents, Alan, and I think you brought one of the booklets that's available through the 3 to 3 initiative. Can you
Yes, I did.
show us that?
And it is called the 5 Key Things that every parent should know in terms of both young parents as well as soon-to-be parents. And one of the key things, and the first thing is read to your child, even as early as at birth, before, which really starts to build the literacy skills both for the parent as well as the child. Other things like eat nutritious foods, making sure that you take your child to regular checkups and examinations to a pediatrician, and again to play, play in a safe place.
Now, and families can download this online, but where else can we find this in the community?
We could find it at City Hall, at the rec centers, also at the libraries, and we've also started now to put them in a lot of the hospitals, in the pediatrician's office, and a lot of the child care centers also. And the intent really is to foster to make sure that parents understand that learning does not begin in grades 1 or 2nd grade or 3rd grade or even kindergarten. It begins way beyond that.
Now, what role will the libraries and the rec centers play as this work continues?
Well, the intent is that both the libraries and the rec centers will be used as resources, especially during the summers. As Carolyn talked about, one of the things we're trying to do is to stem that summer learning loss. So to the extent that in the summers we'll have a lot of children going to the rec centers, if they can become engaged in activities other than just playing basketball or playing pool, but really enrichment activities in music and art and literacy, then that would help to stem that summer learning loss. And the same thing too in the libraries.
Okay, Carolyn, what sort of things does the Rochester community do right that are already in place that maybe people aren't aware of as resources?
Yeah, so Rochester has a lot of high quality resources available for parents and families in the first years of life, and is really lucky to be able to offer so much. We mentioned the high quality universal pre-kindergarten classrooms that's free of charge for any 4-year-old in the community that they can attend. There's also a selection of high quality home visiting programs. So that's when you're just starting to become a parent. Some of these programs start while a mom is still pregnant. So I'm thinking of the Nurse Family Partnership Program, Building Healthy Children, Parents as Teachers. These are home visiting programs that offer support to families when they're first starting out. We're moms, Alan's a dad. This is hard work being a parent. No one knows when they first become a parent what to do, and it's really important to have resources available that help guide us all in what we should be doing.
And when you say home visiting, do they actually come out to the home?
Yeah, so they actually come out to the home and spend time with parents in their own environment, and they build a relationship, and then they're a resource for parents as they start out offering parenting to their children over the first couple of years of life.
That's really good to know. What sort of challenges do you foresee in going about putting this action plan into place?
Well, I think the first one is something that we all talked about is sort of parent engagement. Making sure that we not only engage parents, but make sure that parents understand the importance of things like reading to their child, and doing it as early as possible. I think that more than anything else. Along with the fact that within Rochester there are a lot of resources, a lot of organizations have different kind of programs or initiatives, and I think one of the things that I would like to see, or the mayor really would like to have us work on, is to make sure that we don't start tripping over ourselves in terms of the different organizations and initiatives, that we could all come together and work towards a common goal, more of a coordinated and a focused approach.
Okay. And Carolyn, one of the measures is screening, health screenings, hearing, sight. How important are those, and at what ages should children be screened?
So screening is incredibly important. It's that opportunity for additional professionals to take a look when a parent has a concern that their child might not be developing quite on the right path. And screening's allowed the opportunity to detect those challenges and issues, and then to link parents with resources in the community to help get the services that that would be a help. And it's really critical actually that those start over at birth and hit 9 months, 18 months, 36 months, and up until that 4-year-old level. And actually one of the initiatives as part of the 3 to 3 initiative, the mayor has given support to one of the Rock the Future initiatives around screening and increasing screening for 3-year-olds. So 4-year-olds, because of how many are served by high quality UPK, have opportunities to be screened in that environment, but 3-year-olds, there aren't as many opportunities. There are some in high quality childcare settings, Head Start, but there's a number of 3-year-olds who are getting missed. And we know that if there's not a system for screening, often a lot of these issues that are there aren't identified and detected and dealt with, which then leads to the need for more special education services and other services over time.
Okay. And so Ellen mentioned parent engagement and the importance of that, and you personally have a lot of experience with that, and the Children's Agenda has kind of taken the idea of engagement a level higher as far as parents as leaders. Can you tell us about that work?
Sure. So a couple of years ago, a community group, and it initially came out of the Early Childhood Development Initiative, wanted to increase the amount of parent engagement in the community and parent leadership, and found a high quality curriculum at work in Connecticut called the Parent Leadership Training Institute. And it's actually at work now. It's been around for about 20 years and been evaluated, been in place in about 10 different states. And Rochester brought a team together to work on this and to bring it here. And we've now had 2 classes graduate, and a 3rd class is in session right now. And this is an initiative that increases parents' knowledge about how systems work, and especially how systems that affect children work. So what does the city council do? What does the school board do? What does a budget look like? But it also offers leadership skill development. So it's offering both those pieces of leadership skill development combined with how public systems work and affect children, so then that parents have additional strengths around going forth and making change for children in their community.
Okay. Now, aside from PLTI, if there's a parent who's got a kid that's just entering pre-K, what are the things that they need to know as far as being an advocate for their child?
So I think that's a great question, and I think one of the things they need to know is they have such an important role in the process, and that role doesn't stop when their child does enter the school system, and it remains just as important as it was in the early years, and that there's opportunities to work with teachers. Actually, with the City of Rochester and some work we're doing with the National League of Cities right now, we've been looking at family engagement and how families are engaged by different groups in the community, and what opportunities there are for teachers to work hand in hand with teachers, with principals, in thinking about how schools are serving our children and making sure that their children are getting the services and education they need to do their best.
Great. Now, Alan, you've been working very busy on a very special project involving a book giveaway. It's going to be a continuous event that happens throughout the city. Can you share with us about that?
Yes, this is called the mayor started, one of the first pieces of her initiative is called Rochester Families Read. And the intent is, again, to emphasize the importance of reading to your child as early as possible to build those literacy skills. So on the 31st, on Halloween night, the city will be giving away a free book to any child or parent or family for the asking. And the intent is to make sure that the parent reads to the child. At the end of that, when they finish reading the book, they have the option either bringing the book back and turning it in, or hopefully they'll keep it in an effort to start to build their home library.
Okay.
And then as it stands now, we'll be doing it at least on a quarterly basis. And again, the real intent is to emphasize the importance of literacy and reading at an early age.
Okay, and is there dedicated funding for this, or is this something that corporations might be able to, help sponsor one of the events?
Well, we have funding at least for the first giveaway.
Okay.
But we are definitely looking for sponsors in terms of corporations or foundations in order to keep it going. And one of the things that in addition to giving the book away, we also want to track in terms of who we give the book to, as well as start to monitor or evaluate just how effective the overall book giveaway is in terms of the intended result is to increase, again, those literacy skills.
Okay.
Yes.
And Carolyn, corporations, people that don't have children, people that live outside of the city of Rochester, why is this work important for our whole community?
Yeah, this work is incredibly important for our whole community because it's really the greater Rochester community, and that we're all impacted by how well the city does. And we all succeed when the community is doing well overall. And we know that children who are being born now and in their first years of life, those are our future citizens, our future employees, our future neighbors, and so we all need to be invested in the work. And there's lots of ways to be involved in it. You mentioned corporations. The Rochester Business Alliance has been a ready partner in the Rock the Future work. They have been sitting at the table and been very involved. Last year they included on their agenda childcare subsidies to increase the number of children who could go to high quality childcare and help on their path to school readiness. So there's a number of different ways to be involved. No matter where you're sitting, it's valuable to get involved.
Okay, and I understand Rochester's receiving a special designation from the National League of Cities that's coming up. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So Rochester was one of 6 cities selected by the National League of Cities from across the country to receive technical assistance in educational alignment for young children with a focus on children 0 to 8. So it's very aligned with the mayor's leadership in work in early childhood. And the National League of Cities is really looking for mayors who are leading in this work. This is a new area of work. Cities have often, historically not been as involved in this, and so Mayor Warren is really on the cusp and a pioneer in this work.
Mm-hmm. Alan, what do you say to someone that says, well, city government doesn't have any control of education or our schools? What do you say to that person?
Well, I would say yes, we don't have any kind of direct impact, or not impact, but direct control over the school district. However, the mayor, there are a whole host of other things that the mayor can do in order to further this whole issue of early childhood learning or education in general. One of which is what she's doing now in terms of embarking on this important work of early childhood learning. Also, we're in the process of really revamping our rec centers and libraries to make sure that they offer more than just places to come in and play pool or basketball, but they really offer enrichment activities that would help to educate all of our children, because it is very important,
right?
Extremely important.
And Carolyn, going back to the National League of Cities, there is an upcoming summit that you're involved with, the City of Rochester is involved with. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So this coming week, next Thursday, there'll be a summit on early educational and educational alignment, and there'll be partners from across the state here. So the City of Rochester and the National League of Cities are hosting it, and Mayor Warren will offer comments and actually will really talk about her 3 to 3 initiative. So other local community partners, but also our friends in Syracuse and Buffalo and Ithaca and from Long Island can also learn about the work happening here and take some lessons back to think about work there. And so we're also the mayor will be joined by leadership from Buffalo and Syracuse and Ithaca, where they'll have a leadership panel to talk about the roles that cities are taking and how communities can help support this work. And so it'll be an opportunity to really think about how we lead and continue to move the work that the mayor has put forth in the 3 to 3 initiative.
Okay, is that something that happens locally every year?
This is the first time this particular event has happened, and it's a part of Rochester being selected as one of the 6 cities, but it's certainly linked with other efforts in the community.
Okay, and is that open to members of the community? Can anyone attend that?
At this point, we actually have gone past the number that can be registered.
Wow.
So
Okay.
unfortunately not, but hopefully future events.
Okay. Alan, what's next for the Early Learning Council? Is the work done? Are there future meetings scheduled?
No, it is, well, no, in the sense that the work is not done. It is an ongoing effort. First, after we get out of the 3 to 3, then it's the next effort really is to build the infrastructure in terms of making it available to, again, to all of our children. Because we have work to do with, in terms of increasing the child care subsidies. You have work to do on the screening for 3-year-olds. Also work in terms of expanding the opportunities for the UPK, the universal pre-K offerings also. So it's far from being over.
And the website has just a wealth of information. That's cityofrochester.gov/3to3. There's some upcoming resources that will be added to that website as well. Can you expound on that?
Well, one will be, I should talk about with the Rochester Families Read, we are opening a Facebook site.
Okay.
And the intent is to have people or parents really come and give us their experience in terms of, and sort of feedback in terms of the book itself. How's the book? What they like about the book, how they read to their child, what's coming next, and the other thing too is we're looking to do a book giveaway at least on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
So
wonderful.
it's a fair amount of work that's still coming.
Excellent. Thank you both so much for joining us today. Okay. Again, to learn more about the 3to3 initiative, that website is cityofrochester.gov/3to3. You can always call 311. Thanks for joining us on this edition of CityWise.